Thank you for joining me for this tutorial that walks through creating training plans and schedules for operator assessments using the PCS system and the Artelware software application. I've got a little bit of information to share with you, so let's go ahead and get started. Before you begin creating your training plans and operator assessments, there are a couple of decision points that have to be made. The first is determining who's going to be assigned with trainer permissions. If we navigate to the Administration section, and then to Groups, and click on the Trainers User Group, and then click on the Permissions area, you'll see that trainers have some very distinct training permissions to train operators, to add or edit training plans, or to deactivate training plans. You can certainly choose to use the built-in Trainer Permissions group in order to assign your users there. But first, I'm going to go ahead and create a trainer user. Let's go ahead and go to the User section. I'm going to click the plus sign to create new user. I'll complete all of the fields that have the red asterisks required, but specifically I'll make sure to assign the trainer's initial group to this Trainer 1 user. And now you can see that my Trainer 1 user has been successfully added. Now let's go to the lab policy settings, because there's one particular setting that you'll want to keep in mind before you start performing operator assessments. Once we click on Lab Policy Settings, click on the Operator Training tab. Within this tab, there are some pieces of information that you'll have to consider. The very first option is to require the reviewer to be different than the trainer, even if the trainer has review permissions. It should be noted that if a trainer-led assessment is performed, if you have this box unchecked, the trainer can also be the reviewer. But anytime that there's a self-assessment that's being performed, that will always need review, no matter what. You can also choose to have operators enter comments for the completion or the abortion of an operator assessment. Lastly, you can choose to capture important information such as the temperature, the relative humidity, the barometric pressure, and/or tip information for your operator assessment record. I'm going to go ahead and leave the option to require the reviewer to be different than the trainer, even if the trainer has review permissions, because there's an added level of review at my facility that has to occur. Let's go ahead and head back to the home screen. There are two ways to create a training plan. The first is to click on the Create Plan shortcut that's located on the Get Started bar. Alternatively, if you click on the configuration icon on the far left navigation panel, and you go to the Training Plans section, you can click on Create New Training Plan here and create a new training plan. I'm going to head back to the home screen, and I'm going to click on the Create Plan shortcut that's on my Get Started bar. From here, I'll click to highlight Operator Assessment, and I'll click OK. As a reminder, fields with red asterisks are required fields. The training plan name usually contains volume information. So for example, I'm going to assess my operators using a 1,000 microliter pipette. I'm going to go ahead and enter 1,000 microliter, and I'm going to call this fixed because this is a 1,000 microliter fixed volume pipette that I'll be using for this training. The description field is optional, but the number of replicates I'm going to keep at 10 because I am going to take 10 replicates for these operator assessments. From there, I'll click on the Tolerances tab. The Tolerances tab look a lot like the Tolerances tab for Pipette Calibration. You can choose to have your operator assessments meet pipette manufacturer specifications or ISO 8655 specifications, or you can define your own user specifications. I'm going to select User Defined. You can also choose to determine what your evaluation criteria is. I'm evaluating my operators on both accuracy and in precision, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that as my selection. You can also choose from a statistical standpoint to have your statistics reported out as absolute volumes instead of percent. I am going to go ahead and leave that box unchecked because I want my statistics to be based on all of the replicates as a whole. Next, we'll click on the plus sign to create a new tolerance. You'll see that I've entered my target volume and my tolerances for both inaccuracy and imprecision, and I'll go ahead and click OK. If I was using a variable volume pipette, I could add multiple volumes, But since this is a fixed volume 1000 microliter plan, I'll go ahead and select Approve. You'll notice that I have an electronic signature screen prompt. This screen only shows if you have the Compliance Suite add-on module for Artelware. Let's go ahead and click Sign. You'll then see my 1000 microliter fixed training plan and my list. Now from here, I'll need to make a corresponding training schedule. Now some really important information to note. If you're testing your operators using different pipettes and different volumes, you'll want to create a training plan and a corresponding schedule for each pipette type. For example, you'll see that I have a 20 microliter training plan in this list, as well as a 1000 microliter training plan in this list. I'm going to need to create a schedule for both the 20 microliter training plan and the 1000 microliter fixed training plan because those are two different pipettes that I'm going to be using. Let's go ahead and head to the Schedule section. To add a schedule, click on the plus sign for Create New Schedule, and then go ahead and add your schedule name. It's recommended that your schedule name also has something about the volume within it. You'll see that I've chosen to name my schedule after my 1000 microliter fixed training plan. In the Type field, be sure to select Operator Training. In the Repeats field, select how often you want your operators to be assessed for that particular volume. I'm going to have my operators assessed for this volume every 6 months, and then I want the operator training assessment to repeat from its completion date. So I'll go ahead and leave that radio button for completion date selected. From here, I'll need to add users and the training plan to the schedule. So I'll click on the plus sign. I'm going to add Operator 1 to the 1000 microliter fixed training plan that I created earlier. If I go down to the lower left, there's a first due by calendar. I can choose to select when I want Operator 1 to be assessed initially. Let's go ahead and click OK. To add additional operators, simply click on the plus sign and add another operator. For this operator, I'm going to choose to have their first assessment due by August 15th. So I'll go ahead and click OK. So now I have two operators on this 1000 microliter fixed training schedule, one that's due for July 19th and one that's due for August 15th. I'll go ahead and click Save. You'll notice that I'm getting an audit comment prompt, and that's because I have the Compliance Suite module add-on added into my Artelware application. We'll now see that I have a 1000 microliter fixed training schedule. You might recall that I also have a 20 microliter training plan in here as well. Let's go ahead and create a schedule for the 20 microliter training plan because remember, for every training plan, it needs to have a corresponding and matching schedule. So let's go ahead and go back to the schedule screen and create a new schedule. I've completed all of my information up top, so let's go ahead and add a user and training plan to this 20 microliter training schedule. I'll select my operator and I'll also select that 20 microliter training plan. And I'll click OK. And then I'll click Save. And now we see the 20 microliter training schedule in the list alongside the 1000 microliter training schedule. Okay, that concludes our brief tutorial. Do you have additional questions? Please contact us at 1-800-225-4034 option 3 or at support@aicompanies.com. Thank you.